Good morning, everybody. It's Kula Dula from RawStocks. We have another edition of our pre-market prep, and today looks like it could be a melt-up day. We're going to find out. We're going to cover the data. Stick with us, and we'll jump right into it. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Black Box Stocks and GammaEdge. Without those guys, we would not be able to do this for you every single day for free. So go support those guys with the links in our bio or description. And yesterday, blown top right here on Tesla. Does that mean that it's going to continue to come down? Unlikely. We talked about the magnet at 400, but this is kind of where we talk about the absolute power of understanding options data. And it really drew it back towards 400, gave dealers a ability to reposition and hedge in certain different ways. And now, are we released towards 450? We're going to cover that. Okay. We also are looking at the SPX today. Nice little jump yesterday, a really small, tight consolidation day. Very much looked like what I thought it might look like yesterday. And we're starting to see futures start to gain a little bit at the overnight high at 66.35 right now, 66.35. All right, so let's take a look at the data today, and it's overwhelmingly bullish, and sometimes that can be a bad thing. Okay, so we're going to cover both parts of the sword here, so to speak, double-edged sword, and let's take a look at it. So SPX today, we are seeing a potential, full complex here. We're call dominated, pretty decent size call dominated here. We have the virtually the 6,500 position from JP Morgan looks virtually closed. No, not virtually closed, not closed. Excuse me. It looks virtually a lock. My bad. Looks virtually a lock. That looks good for them. Will it draw us back into this 65.05 range is going to be the question towards the end of the month, is what I was talking about. But right now, today, we see 6,700 as the upside. This is the new print here. We see 6,700, y'all. 6,700. So can we get to the upside? Maybe. 6,650 seems to be the upside on the full complex. You start to dive into it, it looks like 6,675. So which one first, right? Well, obviously 6,650, and we're going to see where that turns. But if we top 6,650, we need to be very cautious that there is a rug pull between 6,650 and 6,675. All right. So you're going to see the top side here today is the top side is 66.75, but 66.50 because of the full complex. Okay, you need to be watching that, and that's why you have to look at both of these. Look at the wall here at 66.50, but when you look at the 0 day, 66.75 becomes the melt up target, but 66.50 definitely something you need to be watching as a potential dump zone. Okay, I don't want to say dump zone, I want to say resistance. Okay, so keep an eye on this level right here. To be something you need to focus on. That is in the event that we do see that the high overnight 66.35. We will put that on here as well. Let's see, 66.35. We'll put overnight high on this. Okay, overnight high. I like these much smaller. Okay, so that is our overnight high, and then 66.50 is our full complex cap. Full complex cap. All right. So this is kind of where we're looking. So you need to be cautious of these levels here. There's support down in towards 6,600. If we do visit into this range, you need to know that virtually 66.05 is where you're looking. 66.05 to 6,600 is virtually going to be this whole zone right here, this 10-point swing right here from 66.05 to 65.95 is an area where you would look to buy for a potential push back up. Okay. One thing you need to keep in mind is the daily 4, and that's going to rise today. I'm sure of it, not by much, but it's going to put us right near that 6,600 level if I had to guess. So if we do see 6,600, we always talk about using the daily 4, and that is this purple line here. That's the one you see on my 4 here, or excuse me, on my daily here in the yellow. You will see that on Trendbox. This gives you implied volatility levels. I made it. Gives you a little bit of an understanding on where we are in regards to trend. If we're over VWAP, if we're over the daily open set or the open session level, if we're over or under our daily 4, and then it gives us our VIX high, VIX low, where we're at above that. So as of today, based on where we're at on VIX, we're right around 1% gain. So that puts us right around that. Right around that level that we're thinking, 66.80, right? So we're right around that 66.75. So that puts us on par for that if we want to continue to press up. I imagine, like I said, our daily 4 for our trend will be right here at 6,600. So you're buying into that. You're looking for the press towards our daily market, or excuse me, our overnight high at 66.35, and then our full complex cap at 66.50. But we have a daily intraday top cap at 66.75. This, I would respect this more than I do this. There is the headline for 66.75. I understand that that is on there. That's a little bit of clickbait. I'm not gonna lie. But 66.50 does believe to be the cap today. I would be surprised if we did get the full extension, but if we do break 66.50, it will be massive, and I would imagine this would happen very quick towards that level. So if you're looking for plays, I'm looking for nothing more than this. This is all icing on the cake, and that's that. Do want to point out real quick, core retail sales did come in. I thought this was going to be a bust here. I was wrong. Clearly dominated. Even the forecast here for analysts, it was smashed. So very interesting. You do see import prices tick up over their forecasted right here, which is an interesting thing with PPI dropping. And then you see this kind of, uptick a little bit over their forecast, but it is below the previous month. So, all right. So we have the full understanding of what to do on SPX. Let's take a look at Tesla real quick. Like I said, we talked about the draw towards 400. The data was indicative of that. But now what? And so let's take a look at the full complex. 400 still remains where you would imagine the cap would be. Holding over the top of that would give us a potential heightened level of squeeze towards that 450 level. You're seeing there's some uncertainty between 420 and 400 here on the full complex. You dial it in, it's this week's uncertainty for the most part. So over the top of 420, you're bullish towards 450. Under that, it's going to be some chop. It'll probably just kind of bounce around. You don't want any business right between 420 and 400. You could look to go long at 400 and see if it wants to bounce off that towards that 450 extension. But anywhere between here, you want nothing to do with that. So virtually, if you're looking in besides this range, you go short here, but it's not a high level of confidence because of the way it looks. But 420 is your resistance here. Over the top of 420, you can get long looking for 450. But between these, it is a relative weakness, but it's very much where you would see chop. Undecisiveness is probably the better word than weakness, okay? Looking at NVDA here, this is an interesting thing. We talked about 174 and 175 holding for the pivot yesterday. You could see that it did exactly that, pressed up towards that 177.5 area, and now we're kind of just sitting here. Well, now what, right? So taking a look at this data wasn't super impressed with the data, but it does look bullish. Okay. Nothing really like standout-ish, but it does look like a 180 to 182 visit has a high level potential here. Okay. So we're sitting at 177.5. I think if we start to see a break over this consolidation, you could look to chase it towards 180. Keep in mind your daily high here at 180.27 to be an area of supply. But your ultimate target here is 182.5, which is the full range. You could buy into 175 and look to see this thing try to press up towards 182.5. And then potentially get more. Okay. That would have to be a swing. You could see 180 still remains a huge wall here. If you get over the top of 180, we're really going to go screaming. In my opinion, we'll probably find ourselves, pushing up towards that 190 level. I've thought this before over here, especially right here on this area last month. We got burned on it. 180 remains a massive wall. It just does. 180 remains a massive wall. Can we get past it? Potentially. But we probably need to see an opening gap over the top of that for us to really get balls to the wall towards 190 to 200. Okay. But as of right now, we just play the ranges. We look at NVIDIA at this point on a breakout over this consolidation. You look for it to drive towards that daily high at 180.27 and potentially up to 182.5. Breakdown below 175, 174. Sure, you can short it down towards that 172.5 to 170 area. But it's not my favorite. Okay. It's not my favorite. It's still very much net delta neutral or net delta positive here. Net positive delta, and it's just virtually means dips are going to be bought. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, so hey, that's going to cover it for us today. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Hopefully, if you find benefit from these every day, make sure that you are going and sharing this on X, YouTube. Share all of our social media. Like it. Retweet it, do all the interactions. You know what it is. Make sure you're following us if you're not. And until next time, we'll catch you later.